Today we're talking about the next step in the creation of life, in the creation of Earth. Yesterday we discussed the idea that there were two worlds to begin with, according to the Norse. There was Niflheim, Niflheim, Foghome, to the north, the source of all cold and darkness and snow and wintry mess. And Muspell, or Muspelheim, Muspell, the fire home, the world enters home to the south. In Niflheim lives Ymir the frost giant, his friend Athulmo the cow, and Ymir's various assorted children, the other frost giants. Along with them are Buri and Bor's three children with the giantess Bestla, Odin, Vili, and Ve. Over in Muspell, the fire giant, Surt, rules that kingdom. Surt is the first and largest and greatest of the fire giants. He is powerful, he is dangerous, he is in control of his world utterly. With his fiery sword, he guards his kingdom against all potential invaders, including, now that he has an enemy, the blue-skinned devils from across the yawning gulf, the fire giants. Surt has an army of soulless fire giants he's created from the stones of his home world. He has a wife, a woman he created and gave to her soul, also from his home world. And these two sides are at odds. They cannot meet, they cannot leave their worlds at this point, but they hate each other. They fear the other side is more powerful than they. They fear the other side will one day conquer, capture, control, and destroy their world. Now in Niflheim, Odin, Vili, and Ve are troublemakers. Odin's name means fury, fiery passion. Ve means wisdom, understanding. And Vili is will, is stubbornness, is determination. And while Ve constantly tries to coordinate, help, control, and moderate his brothers, Odin and Vili constantly get in trouble, and Ve tags along to keep an eye on them. The three brothers are terrors all around Niflheim. And their great-great-great-great-grandfather, Ymir the frost giant, by this point, who was old, tyrannical, controlling just as Surt was, fearing for the future, has discovered a means of distilling the poisonous, venomous waters of the well Vergelmir, the source of all the poison snakes in Niflheim. And Ymir, discovering this method of creating this intoxicating drink, has become an alcoholic as well as a tyrant. And he is abusive, he is dangerous, he is rude, controlling, and he begins to force all the other frost giants to work their hardest at producing goods and joy for Ymir himself alone. Life becomes brutal. More so than it already was. Remember, they're living in a wasted, blasted, treacherous land of frozen, poisonous water, dead trees, and rocks, and snow, and swirling ice. That's it. And now, their boss, their father, their grandfather, their leader, has become terrible. Odin, Vili, and Ve, young and impulsive, decide that they must form a conspiracy. They must find a plan, a means of solving this problem that they see as causing great hurt in their world. And they get together one night and they discuss how they hope to all come across a solution to this concern. And they sit huddled around a small little stream, watching the snakes swirl in the eddies, and they talk in low voices to be overheard by no one about how to solve their problems. And they decide, at Odin's suggestion and everyone's agreeal, that they must kill Ymir. They must kill great-grandfather, they must kill their king, they must save their kingdom, their home, their world, their flat world, from his abusive tyranny. No one else will do this. No one else dreams of killing the king, but the three brothers, these upstarts, grandchildren of Buri, the first man found buried in the ground by Athuma the cow, sweet, kind, gentle Athuma. They decide that they must put aside Athuma's ways and take up the ways of war and kill Ymir before he hurts them all and ruins the world. So one night, they wait for Ymir to be heavy with drink, and they sneak up on him in his home, and they attack. Ymir, remember, is the first and greatest of giants. He is huge, nearly world-sized, and they, being gods, are quite large themselves, but not as big as him. And it takes all three of them, despite his drunken, addled state, to fight and hold and attempt to control this raging, furious, dangerous giant. And they fight for hours. They fight for hours. They smash up the house. They smash up the ground around them. They tear down mountains in their fury, and in their fire, and in their stubbornness. They wreck the entire plain around where they live, and still Ymir is not dead. They cannot kill him. Till eventually, they don't say who, but one of them gets Ymir in a headlock. And another one, never confessing to this yet, reaches down from atop his head and tears Ymir's head from his shoulders. Rips it clean off. Blood gushes everywhere. Blue blood, frozen blood, gushes from the broken wounds of the skull and the neck and floods the valley they're in. And Odin, Vili, and Ve, covered in the blood of their murdered great-grandfather, watch in horror as the body continues to ooze and pour forth this blue stream of death and slowly drown their entire world. No one knows how to swim. No one can escape. Everyone they've known and loved drowns. Athuma the cow, the sweetest and nicest of people, drowns in the blood of her first friend. Their parents are dead. The only two giants to escape the onslaught of this blown source of death are Bergelmir and his wife. Bergelmir, Bergelmir. Bergelmir is Ymir's grandson, technically. Born of the son who grew between Ymir's toes. Bergelmir and his wife survive by riding a floating log and staying high above the waves until they settle atop this log. And they watch as their family and their friends and all that they know and love is consumed by the blood of their grandfather, and their hearts become heavy with hate. Because above all of it, sitting on the body of their murdered ancestor are Odin, Vili, and Ve. And Bergelmir and his wife know that it is these three boys, these three children, these three angry, petulant, impetuous children are the cause for the death of all they love. And they hate them for it. Their grief drives them to hatred, and they blame them for all that has happened. Odin, Vili, and Ve are horrified. They are terribly, terribly upset. Their beloved friend Athuma the cow, all of their other friends, their giant friends, everyone they know is dead, including their parents, and it is their fault. Unaware of the sheer magnitude of the damage they would do, they have caused the death of their world. And so it is up to them, having caused this problem, to solve it. They drag Ymir's body from off the surface of Niflheim and place it in the center of the yawning gulf between Muspel and their home. They crush it into a sphere Because they say to themselves, never again will we produce a flat world. A world that can be drowned this way. A world that has edges and a basin that can be destroyed in such a manner. They form a spherical world, a round world. And they call it a middle earth. Between the two other kingdoms, between the two other worlds, stands Midgard, Midgard, Middle Earth, their new world. And from Ymir's bones, they create the mountains and the stones. From his hair, they produce the trees and the grasses and all living things. From his brains, they produce the clouds in the sky. And they place above it all the dome of Ymir's skull, his giant skull, as the sky itself. And they take and they pour from Niflheim all of Ymir's soaking blue blood, and they lay it across the lower valleys of this new world they've made. Which is why the oceans and the streams and the waters are blue. So when you swim, when you boat, when you seek out the waters of this world, you are swimming and boating and living within the drowned blood of the first giant, Ymir. And this world is dark. This world is dark and quiet. And the only life is plant life, built from the hair of Ymir. So they gather up sparks from the far edge of Muspel. They cannot get close to the world, but they can catch the sparks that fall from it. And they scatter the sparks within the dome of his skull and form the stars in the sky, and they set them swirling within the skull, which is why the stars spin in the heavens. And still, there's sunlight now, but not quite enough. They take some of those sparks and they produce fire to bring down to the world. More light, not enough. And finally, they say, we need to do more than simply make a new world to save the dead remains of our former one. We need to atone for what we've done. We need to apologize to the two remaining giants, Bergelmir and his wife. So they make, alongside Midgard, a home for the giants, a rocky place, some fields. Jotunheim, 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 Jotun meaning giant, Jotnar, Heim again meaning home. Giant's home is the new place that they offer and give to Bergelmir and his wife. And they say to them, we can never apologize enough for what we've done. Please take this world as our apology. And Bergelmir says to them, we take your world, we do not take your apology. You can never be forgiven for what you've done. You could never be forgiven for any of this. You can never take away all that someone knows and loves and then say that giving them a thing can replace family. Nothing can replace our loved ones. Nothing can replace our dead children. Nothing can replace all that you have destroyed. We hate you. We hate you now. We hate you forever. We will hate you until the end of time. You deserve our hate. You deserve all that's coming to you. You deserve to be loathed and reviled throughout the universe for what you have done. We will tell our children about your despicable deeds. We will tell their children, and we will pass along for generations the stories of how you three young gods have destroyed our world, destroyed our home, destroyed our lives, and destroyed our past. And they take Jotunheim, and they tell the gods to leave. And Odin, Vili, and Ve leave. They go to Midgard. They abandon Niflheim to the dead. They go to Midgard, and there they sit and ponder what to do next. A world without life is not a world at all. So while they are sitting there discussing how to deal with things, they create animals, little toys for themselves, which they set loose upon the world. Cows, sheep, pigs, chickens, wolves, foxes, all these things. Cast them out into the world to breed, to populate, to grow, to produce a flavor of life within this land. But it's not enough. It does not satisfy. It does not give them the satisfaction knowing that they have atoned for the destruction of a sentient race, a sentient species, the destruction of all that they knew and the families that they loved. So they're walking along the beach one day, walking along, talking, discussing life, discussing family. And they find two trees washed up on the shore. Two trees. An ash tree and an elm tree. And these are good trees, strong trees, malleable trees that are slightly bendy from being soaked in the sea. And they say to one another, here we have our solution. Here we have our forgiveness, our atonement, our opportunity to make good what we have done wrong. And they take these two trees, and from them they form two humans. From the ash tree, they produce Ask, A-S-K. And Ask is the first man. He is tall, he is strong, he is good. And from the elm tree, they produced Embla, E-M-B-L-A. And Embla is fair to look upon. She is wise, she is helpful, she is intelligent, and she too is strong. And Odin gives them both passion, fire, fury, anger, strength. Vili gives them will, determination, stubbornness, drive, ambition. And Ve gives them wisdom, goodness, intellect, the ability to know the right thing to do at the right time to do it. And the three young gods pour into these two new beings all they have to offer. And they tell them, you're alive now. You are truly independent. This world is yours. This Middle Earth belongs to you. It is yours. They give them a farm. They give them animals. They teach them how to make crops grow, how to harvest, how to sow. They offer these two a life of plenty, a life of difficulty at times, but a life of opportunity. And they thrive. Humans thrive. Under Odin, Vili, and Ve's tutelage, humans become great. And over in Muspel, Surt watches, and in his fear, his army grows again. Now the brothers, the three brothers, had a disagreement. Because Odin, the fiery, ambitious one, says at long last that we are gods. We are. We are great, we are powerful, we have created life with our bare hands. We have built this world, a whole world. We are gods. We deserve a better place to live than this Middle Earth. We deserve a kingdom and a world of our own. And Vili and Ve disagree. They say, we are doing good here. We are atoning for our losses, atoning for our sins. We have made a difference in the lives of these people. We are doing genuine good. We don't want to leave. And Odin fights them for it. He argues day and night. He harangues and harasses and bothers them about the creation of a new world, a better world, a world for the gods and the superior beings to live and to thrive above this Middle Earth. And it gets so bad that Vili and Ve pack up what they have and leave. They abandon Odin and say to him that I hope you find within your new world the companionship that you so desire and the people who will follow you the way that we simply cannot. And Vili and Ve leave and are never heard from again. And Odin is alone. Odin is alone. He builds his Asgard. He builds his god's home, the home for the Aesir, Aesir. The Aesir are the gods, the race that Odin has called himself. He builds this world, but it's lonely. It's empty. It's shallow and meaningless without companionship, without drive, without wisdom. And Odin drowns his sorrows in the pleasures of the flesh. He has children among the giants when they're willing to talk to him or do other things with him. He has relationships with humans when he sees fit. And Odin is alone, despite having these followers, despite having these humans who worship him, despite having a few giants who, after generations, accept the fact that maybe a mistake was made, but there should not be hate for all times. So some giants in Jotunheim are willing to talk, are willing to socialize, are willing to be with Odin. But it's not enough. Eventually he finds himself a wife, a woman named Frigg, Frigg. Frigg and Odin love each other. They get married. They find a court, they build a castle in Asgard, and life is okay. But the humans are still living in relative darkness. They have fire, they have the stars, but it's not enough to make the crops grow well, to make their lives rich and wonderful. So Odin, looking down upon this Middle Earth from his new home in Asgard, says, how can I make this better? What can I do to improve their lives, even without my brothers around to help and guide me? And Odin says, we need more light for the world. We need brightness. We need happiness. We need something to shine down upon them and give them hope and strength and warmth and seasons that are not mild throughout. So, Odin looks down upon the earth and he finds a family. He finds, living in Jotunheim, among the giants, a man named Nor, and her daughter, Nat, or Night, N-A-T. And Nat has dark skin, black skin, and she is beautiful, and she's married to this fair-skinned man named Delling. And Delling and Nat have a son, and the son is handsome, and the son is strong, and the son is good and wise, and his skin is fair like his father's. And Odin, hoping to please the humans and improve their lives, but not knowing quite the best way to go about it, takes Nat and Nat's son Dag, or Day, and he takes them and he places them in the heavens. Nat rides a horse called Rymihide, R-I-M-Y-H-I-D-E. And Rymihide the horse spews from his mane the rime, the frost that falls upon the ground each night. In the summer, it melts into dew. But Rymihide, ridden by night, circles the earth every day, the spherical world. And across the world, from Night and Rymihide her horse, Odin places her son, Day. And Day rides the horse Shinyhide. And Shinyhide gives forth the brightness that produces daylight. And the son and mother never see each other again as they constantly circle the world at Odin's command. His intentions are good. His intentions are nice. But his methods are not. He is not wise. He is not full of the wisdom that his brother had. And he does not have the convictions to push through the most difficult challenges of accepting this truth like his other brother would have had. Odin is trying to be good, but he's finding it very difficult. And so, when the day and the night are still not bright enough for his tastes, he looks down once again upon Earth this time. And he finds a man named Mundilfari. And And Mundilfari has two children, a son named Mani and a daughter named Sol. Mani is M-A-N-I, Sol is S-O-L. Mani and Sol are beautiful to look on. Mani is a pale-faced young man with shining white hair, beautiful countenance, pleasant smile with lots of teeth. And Mani is a good son. He's loyal, he's dedicated. And Sol, his sister, is also beautiful. She's warm, she has blonde hair, she has rosy cheeks. She is also equally good. And Odin places them into the heavens atop their own horses and sets them just behind night and day, where Mani becomes the moon and circles the heavens every day. And Sol, S-O-L, Sol is the sun, and together they ride around the world. Now, on this Middle Earth, the three brothers had created all these creatures, these species, these new ideas, and in the dark forests, many of them breed and grow strong and dangerous. Wolves are created, one of the great banes of civilization for Northern Europe. Wolves are deadly. They are huge. They are powerful. They can take down a horse. They can take down a man. They can take down a town if there's enough of them. Wolves are bred in the forests, and in the ironwood, one wolf in particular grows large and powerful. And one evening, the wolf looks up into the skies and sees a bright, new, shining light. The moon. He sees the moon, and he is entranced by it. And he sees the sun, and he is entranced by it. But the moon has a special effect upon this wolf. The moon is like a silver beacon of desire for Managarm. M-A-N-A-G-A-R-M. Garm is wolf, Mana is moon. Managarm, the moon wolf, looks up into the sky and has a consuming desire to destroy and eat this shining, beautiful being he has found. He leaps from Middle Earth up into the heavens, into the skull of Ymir, and begins to chase Mani the moon around and around the world. And Mani is terrified. Mani is horrified by the idea of this wolf devouring him, and he rides faster and faster. Which is why the moon does not track the same as the sun. It does not have the same speed. And Mani attempts to constantly hide his light from this wolf, covering himself with his cloak, dimming his light, little by little each day. But he cannot maintain it. He cannot drive and ride his horse and hide his face and cover all the light at the same time. So no matter how many times he covers himself with the cloak, inevitably it slips off again and the light is revealed. Which is why we have the phases of the moon. Mani must be ridden ahead and driven by his fear until the end of time, when it has been predicted and promised that Managarm will in fact at long last catch, kill, and devour his prey. Mani has no hope, but still he runs and hopes that perhaps, against all odds, he will survive. And Sol must watch while her brother is constantly harassed and attacked and chased down by this wolf who can never quite reach him but will never ever give up. Because Managarm and his pack are insatiable. They are driven by their desperate hunger for this most luscious of objects they have seen. Now the world is shiny at last. It is bright. It has seasons. It has summer and it has winter. A season for growing and for life, and a season for death and for fear. Reminiscent every year of the trials of Niflheim, their former home. The humans cope as best they can. The humans do not know what's going on in their world all the time, but they cope as best they can. And Odin and his followers do their best to make sure that the world is run in a somewhat orderly fashion. But as I said, Odin does not have the wisdom that his brothers had before. But the world's established. Earth is a sphere instead of a flat plane like Niflheim is and Muspel is. Earth has a sky above it and stars swirling ahead. Earth has a sun and a moon and night and day. Earth has people who are populated by the first two, Ask and Embla, and Adam and Eve for the northern kingdoms. Earth is the home of humans, and above it stands Asgard. And Odin places between Earth and Asgard a bridge, a shining beacon of hope and access to the heavens, which is called Bifrost. Bifrost. And Bifrost is the rainbow. Bifrost is the rainbow bridge, which when you find it, will grant you access to all the riches of heaven. If you can reach the base of the rainbow, you can find yourself the path to heaven in all its glory and all its riches. And this is the dream of many humans who waste their time trying to get into heaven all the wrong ways.